California's homelessness crisis is a hot mess, literally. But is the solution to homelessness just to give people homes? Welcome to America Uncovered, I'm Chris Chappell. California has become like a pilgrimage site for the homeless. 1/3 of the U.S.'s entire homeless population, and half of all unsheltered homeless people live there. San Francisco especially is essentially a homeless mecca. Forget Rice-A-Roni, the biggest street in San Francisco now is being able to walk on the sidewalk without stepping in human poop. With rampant homelessness going hand in hand with increasing drugs and crime, it's no wonder people are calling San Francisco apocalyptic. It even looks the part, thanks to tons of homeless encampment-related fires. Homeless people create fires to keep warm and cook food. The result? Homeless encampment fires plague residents. So it's no surprise that many people blamed homelessness for the huge fire that ignited in Hayes Valley last week, which happened after neighbors warned San Francisco leaders multiple times about street fires in the area. Residents weren't too happy. Meanwhile, the mayor's office said it was premature to speculate the cause of the incident. But who are they kidding? Everybody already has an idea of who's responsible. Even a week after the incident, the office still hasn't officially released any cause for the fire. Residents fumed over it. See what I did there? Many blame city officials for letting San Francisco become an apocalyptic hellhole, which is fair. If Dante wrote the Divine Comedy today, he'd probably have San Francisco be the 10th circle of hell, the worst and somehow most expensive circle of hell to live in. Huh, I never knew there'd be so many Whole Foods in hell, but I always suspected. San Francisco Mayor London Breed responded to critics by pointing to a federal injunction that bars the city from clearing most homeless camps while there's a shortage of shelter beds. She said, "We can't force people to accept or stay in a shelter, and we're unable to prevent people from setting up an encampment in an area that was just cleared. This is the situation we are in." Well, nothing we can do, folks. After all, politicians aren't elected to make things better. They're just there to tell people to accept things as they are. That's why you always see election signs like this. In fact, Breed said San Franciscans should be proud because they have the second most units of permanent supportive housing per capita of any city in the country and have increased shelter by 50% since 2018. But is the number of shelters built really a good metric of success? More after the break. Welcome back. San Francisco Mayor London Breed has been bragging about San Francisco's supportive housing for the homeless and increased shelter beds. But are either of those good ways to measure success in the fight against homelessness? For a long time, San Francisco has promoted a housing-first approach to homelessness. I call it an approach, but really it's more like a movement. The idea is that the best way to end homelessness is to give homeless people homes with no strings attached. Just, hi, here are the keys to your new apartment/house. It's based on the assumption that having a stable home allows people to do other things like get a job, get treatment for addiction or mental illness, etc. The National Alliance to End Homelessness points to a boatload of studies to show that housing first effectively ends homelessness. Which makes sense if you think about it. A person who's been given a home is technically no longer homeless. But housing first is not solving homelessness in San Francisco. More importantly, it's not solving homeless encampments. According to the San Francisco Standard, on any given night, around 4,400 people sleep on the streets. Things are so bad that neighborhoods have started raising funds for 1,000+ pound planters on sidewalks to block homeless encampments. So not only is housing first not working, it's also very expensively not working. Let's use LA as an example. By some estimates, they're paying $600,000 per unit. By other estimates, they're paying over $800,000 per unit. It also takes a lot of time. On top of high construction prices, California is notorious for its mind-bending web of red tape. And building projects often encounter resistance from people in the neighborhood who don't want to live next to the recently homeless. In San Francisco, Breed recognizes that high costs, rules, and regulations are getting in the way of housing-first policies. So she has a solution, a shelter-first approach. The shelter-first approach is about moving homeless people into shelters, where they have access to food, showers, and community resources, all for a fraction of the cost of a permanent housing unit. But shelters are short-term, with limits on how long a person can stay there. For years, Mayor Breed has been pushing this as the first step in helping people get off the streets. It's kind of like how putting a Band-Aid on a stab wound isn't the most effective solution, but it's better than waiting 5 years to see the next available doctor. Unfortunately for Breed, California Governor Gavin Newsom is mandating the construction of 82,000 new permanent housing units for the homeless. Wow, does government have too much power? Anyway, Breed is pushing to use some of those funds for shelters instead, which is good because San Francisco is broke. Breed faces tremendous pressure to clean up the streets fast, especially as she's up for re-election next year, assuming the city lasts that long. Unfortunately for Breed, and the rest of San Francisco for that matter, things aren't going the way she wants. Half of San Francisco's homeless are refusing to go to shelters. That's because apparently the shelters aren't so nice, thanks to overcrowding, rampant drug use, and random outbursts of violence. You know, shelters are bad when homeless people are saying, "No thanks, I'll take my chances out on the street," which you would think is more dangerous because of all the street sharks. San Francisco is trying to improve the quality of shelters, but housing first and shelter first are not the only options. There is a third way, and it might just be the answer. I'll tell you more after the break. Welcome back. So whether you're talking about housing first or shelter first, the people behind it say you have to get the homeless there so then they can get treatment for drug addiction. What about making the drug treatment the first step instead of giving them alcohol and marijuana or needles? Well, if you believe that, you're a monster. Or you believe in a community first approach. While Community First does incorporate the idea of providing for basic needs like food and housing, it also has volunteers live on site to look out for the formerly homeless 24/7 and help foster community through things like work and play. Faith-based organizations like Mobile Loaves and Fishes in Texas have operated on that philosophy for a long time.
In this otherwise unremarkable area of Austin, Texas, there is a community that very well might be an answer, even the answer, to a problem plaguing cities coast to coast.
And we have a phrase that housing alone will never solve homelessness, but community will.
Community.
It's about community. It's about people being lonely, man.
And you'll never find another place that cares about people like this.
Replacing soulless government bureaucracy with community, charity, and love? That's not the America I want to live in. Where would all those government bureaucrats go if they didn't have those jobs? Why, they'd be homeless, and you'd be right back where you started. Nevertheless, there is at least one attempt to replicate the Texas homeless village in California. But somehow, I trust the bureaucrats will continue to push their solutions to homelessness that don't work and allow them to keep their jobs and their homes in perpetuity. So what do you think the best way to tackle homelessness is? Leave your comments below. And remember that we rely mainly on direct support from viewers like you. If you want to help us deliver nonpartisan news, all it takes is a small monthly contribution on our exclusive social media platform on americauncovered.locals.com. Click the link below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.